Hello everybody. So I wanted to just give my thoughts about Meghan Markle and just sort of answering a lot of commentary that I'm hearing around the place. And there's two lines of it. One is, oh, she's like a narcissist or psychopath or horrible person. And the other side of it is, oh, she's this wonderful, innocent person who's being racially abused, bullied, etc. And they're polar opposites. And so I just thought, look, I don't know I don't know her. I've never met her. I can't sort of judge her as a person in real life. So whatever I'm saying is a bit of a guess. And arguably, even if I had met her, you still don't really know a person, even if you spend all your life with them, you might be wrong about them there. But look, I'm just going to analyse her based on what I do know, her as a public figure. And look, there are some public figures who I would regard as being narcissist, psychopath, that sort of thing. Amber Heard is obviously one in recent memory that I think, based on what we know of her, again, I haven't met her, I would describe her in a very negative light. And I'd say Taylor Swift is another one. Are they the only two? Probably not. There's probably also Kanye West. And there's probably a few others out there, but I'm just going to start with those three names and just leave it at that. I think most people would agree Amber Heard, Kanye West and Taylor Swift are probably not the best people. Look, we don't know for sure, but that's certainly the impression that we get based on their public persona. But that could be completely wrong. In real life, they might be completely different. But I thought to look at Meghan Markle and to look at what we know of her and how that pans out in an analytical sense. Not looking at whether she lied, I'm not looking at behaviours, none of that, I'm just looking at a logical sense. And of course, I'm a bit of an analyst, it's kind of what I do for a living. I'm generally considered genius level in that area. I don't want to toot my own horn too much there, but hopefully people usually will agree with me, not always. Some people just insist that in spite of all the analysis I give them, they just say, that's wrong. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Now, first of all, let's look at the facts about her. So she is independently wealthy. So she doesn't need Prince Harry's wealth. However, Prince Harry has around 20 or 30 times as much wealth as she does. So yes, she's a millionaire off her own bat, but he's 100 millionaire, whatever that means. He's 1/10 the way towards being a billionaire. There's a fair bit of difference. Kind of like if you went into a relationship and one person brought in $4,000 and the other one brought in $100,000. 4,000, you think, oh, that's all right. You got a bit of backup. 100,000, you're pretty well off. And this is 4 million versus 100 million. It's a fair bit of difference. Or if we said $4 versus $100, you go out to a meal and you have $4, you're not going to afford very much. You say, oh, I can have a salad. You get $100, you can get the most expensive meal ever heard of. Well, perhaps not quite, but you can get a very expensive meal. And you can pay for both of you. So a fair bit of difference there. But nonetheless, her independent wealth is probably enough to suggest she's probably not a gold digger. Is she going there for the fame? Well, again, she's in the public eye already. She might not be completely famous. Like I didn't know who she was. I had never seen Suits. I don't think she was like a top celebrity. And Prince Harry certainly is more famous. But again, he's not in line for the throne, or not one of the major ones, never was. There's actually serious questions about his paternity. So, is he really King Charles III's son? Maybe, but maybe not, because his mother Diana certainly cheated on Charles. Charles also cheated on her. That's well documented, it's admitted, it's proven. It's accepted as fact. So that's not a guess, that's just fact. But is it fact that Harry is somebody else's son? We don't really know that. They've never done an absolute test. Officially, he is Charles's son. But there are a lot of rumours general consensus in the general public is that he is not Charles's son, but they just don't want to avoid the scandal by pretending he is. He doesn't look like Charles, he's got the wrong colour hair, he's not going bald. There's a lot of other traits that are different. So all of that, plus of course the fact that Harry's mother, Diana, did more to damage the royal family than anyone else, certainly in my lifetime, probably for centuries. And she was probably assassinated, probably on order of the Queen, maybe implicitly but not a direct order. Unlikely that she wasn't assassinated. That was my analysis, but yeah, there was a lot of hatred towards her, and that hatred flowed down to William and Harry. Now, William made up for it by when he married Catherine, and fell in line. Harry never made up for it. So Harry's very much on the outer. And the publicity when he got married to Meghan, and when he was thinking about it, was, oh, he's already on the outer, she's a divorcee, which doesn't really seem to matter too much, but an American, ugh, that's a bit of a problem, and a lower class person. She's not upper class. She might be a bit of a celebrity, but that still doesn't make her upper class. But then again, nor was Camilla Parker Bowles. But she's a foreigner on top of that. So if he would been, in the inner, marrying someone like her, foreigner, lower class, would be a bit of a problem. But because he's already on the outer, it wasn't really considered to be a big deal. Who cares? So the problem is, she's going in to meet the Queen and all these people. Her husband is already on the outer. She's even more on the outer. She would probably expect, if she was aware of the situation, she would expect to be treated really badly compared to the other royals. Probably, there's probably a few that are treated worse, maybe Fergie. But no, she should have expected to be treated really badly. And based on what she said to Oprah, she just seemed to be completely clueless, was expecting to be treated like a wonderful princess. Oh, well, thank you. Oh. And she claims that it's because of racism. Now, would it be because of racism? The royal family has never made a racist comment, not in public. Now you might say, oh, they've got all these people. Well, the main critics of the royal family, such as Diana and Fergie, have never mentioned racism. They say, oh, well, they're white. Why would they mention racism? Okay. Now we get to the thing about royal families generally, is that they're very up. They look down at commoners, not because they're the colour of their skin, but just because they're commoners. They would look down at her whether she was white, black, brown or Asian, because she's a commoner and because she's from another country. Conversely, if she was an actual princess and was a black princess, so an African princess, and there are African princesses, there's from Monaco, Morocco, I think Egypt still has a king, I'm not quite sure, Saudi Arabia, Brunei, all these sorts of places. If she was from one of those countries, she would be proper royalty. Even if she was a princess of Hawaii, and Hawaii's royalty is not recognised because it's officially a part of USA. But if she was a Hawaiian royalty in line for the Hawaiian throne, you can expect that she would be treated a lot better than someone who's a commoner from another country. It's not the colour of her skin that is the issue, it is her being a commoner, being a foreigner, and the fact that Harry is on the outer already. The other thing is that when she described the thing to Oprah, said how it was, or this institution, or this, it had nothing to do with what other people who had complained about the royal family had said. It was so unlike what Diana or Fergie or other people have said that it was as if they were talking about different things. So I can't believe that she was telling the truth there. But the question is whether she was deliberately lying or just completely ignorant. And the issue there is that I think someone in the public eye, if she was a psychopath, narcissist, one of that sort of thing, you would have found out about it by now. I mean, people know what Kanye West is like because he's been in the public eye. Once you're in the public eye, all your little foibles come out, and people usually make a few things up as well. So it shouldn't have taken her marrying Prince Harry for that sort of thing to come out. I think Taylor Swift hasn't married a royal, and people know what she's like. And Amber Heard, well, she wasn't really famous, and so I'd argue that she wasn't really famous until she married Johnny Depp, and we've only recently found out because she just wasn't famous enough. But Meghan Markle, I'd argue, was a lot more famous than Amber Heard, and famous in her own right, not because of who she was married to. So I just can't believe that she could be like that, and we wouldn't have noticed until just now. That it would have taken her marrying him, not just marrying him, but talking to Oprah before we're saying that. So I think a lot of people have sort of clicked onto her being wrong in the Oprah interview to suggest that therefore she's a narcissist, she's a psychopath, whatever. I don't think that's necessarily true. I'd say yes, she's played the race card and she's invented racism when there was none. But I think that's something that a lot of people do think. If they're in a racial minority in their country, whether they're black in a white country or white in a black country or anything else, you tend to see racism everywhere, and you blame things on racism even when it's probably not the case. Now, of course, her aim is to excite the American people to think of her as America's princess, and especially the African American people to think of her as the African American princess. However, she's not the only black princess in the world. There are others, and there are more legitimate ones around the world that are actually in line for the throne, which she isn't. So I think, yes, she was pushing for that, and much like Princess Mary of Denmark, who's born in Australia, she milks her Australianism and her Tasmanianism to get a lot of support. And I think that's what she was doing, what Meghan was doing, was trying to milk that support, milk American support and milk African American support, and she invented this claim of racism. But I think she may have genuinely, but incorrectly, thought it was. I certainly think she was treated unfairly compared to the other royals. But I think she should have expected that, and I don't think that race was the reason why. I can't see any reason why that would make any difference whatsoever. I think there are other reasons for that. There's Prince Harry, there's his mother, there's her being a foreigner, her being a commoner, that all come before race. Race alone, once again, wouldn't make any difference. Royal families interact with other royal families of other races, and it's not a big deal. So the racism I think she invented, but I don't think she's a narcissist. I think she's just ignorant, and she did lie a little bit, but I don't think it's a big, whole malicious lie. I think she's just quite naive and not very well informed about the whole situation. Anyway, that's my take. Thanks for that. Bye bye.